So now that I know what it's going to take to polish the vehicle using my Beast compound with a wool pad and then my Graphene 3-in-1, I wanted to go around and address any deeper imperfections that wouldn't come out using that combination of products. And what I found here is about a foot-long scratch. It is in the clear coat, which means I'm going to have to sand. If you cannot feel the scratch with your fingernail, then that usually means that a compound by itself, like my Beast compound with that wool pad, which is an aggressive combination, will take care of a defect like that. But since I can actually feel it with my fingernail, that tells me I have to sand. Now, you can sand by hand or by machine. I like to do everything by machine, and especially with sanding because you get uniform material removal. So, and when you hear sanding, you might go, this is a vehicle that the paint is thin, and the truth is, the paint on modern vehicles, it is really thin. It's about as thin as a Post-it note or a piece of paper, about 3 mils. So I'm going to sand it, yes, but I'm not going to get aggressive with it. This is a big picture detail. Again, this is not a $40 million classic car that's going to auction. So the first step is I already cleaned the area, so it's been cleaned. The next step is I have my dual action polisher. This is a mini cordless polisher, which has variable attachments available for it. And I have a 1-inch backing plate with a 6mm orbit. And since there's not really a 1-inch sanding disc that exists, I went ahead and I made a template, and I just cut my own. I used a pair of scissors from a 3-inch disc, no big deal. And this is a 3000 grit sanding disc with a foam interface. 3000 grit is very fine. The higher the number, the finer the grit. This will take off minimal clear coat when I actually sand it. So then I also have a spray bottle here that has water along with just a little bit of soap in it to give some lubrication. So this would be wet sanding. So I'm going to take my solution, spray it on the area, and then I'm just going to go over this a few times, and there'll be a slurry that's made. Our speed setting. You want to make sure your pad is rotating. That's really important. If the pad's not rotating, then you're not really doing anything. So the machine is in its dual action right now. So the pad is rotating and oscillating, and you can absolutely do this by hand, but doing it by machine, like I said, you get better material removal, more uniform, and it also speeds things up. And then you can see the slurry there. What that is that's clear coat. In clear coat, it's just clear paint. That's all it is. So that should be enough. I'm going to take a microfiber towel and inspect my results. And it looks like the scratch is no longer there. And what's left in its place, you can see the dull, hazy paint. Actually, I do see the scratch right there. So I'm going to sand just a little bit more. And I'm not really putting down any pressure, just very light, just the weight of the machine for the most part. So the scratch has been removed on this side, but it's deeper here. So just going to spend an extra moment here to make sure everything has been removed. So you can see there's a white slurry. That's indicative of the clear coat being removed from sanding it away. And now it looks like the scratch is gone, but now we have this dull paint, and that's because I sanded it. So the next step is to switch the action of the tool from a dual action to a rotary. And also on here, I have a microfiber pad, and I'm just going to fluff the fibers up because it's a little bit damp. And each one of these fibers acts as an abrasive to actually level the surface and remove the sanding marks when paired with the compound. So I'm going to apply a little bit of compound to my pad. I'm going to work this area until the dull paint is shiny. Spread it out. Okay, take my microfiber towel, wipe off the residue, and it looks like that scratch is a thing of the past. Paint is now glossy and scratch-free. I'm going to switch back over to a dual action motion, get rid of my sanding disc, put on a foam pad, and then go back to my Graphene 3-in-1. This is going to protect the surface, and it's also going to remove any holograms caused by the rotary polisher. This will make it glossier, and it'll make it look more uniform as well. Always make sure the machine is still touching the paint before you lift it off. So turn it off, leave it on the paint, and then take it off the surface once the pad is no longer rotating. And there we have it. The paint looks like it's been restored because it has. There's no longer a scratch visually or by my sense of touch. It's time to move on to the next paint defect, so I'll see you back at the front of the bumper. Wow, that turned out great.